Sriman, Kishori, Mohan, Prabhu, thank you so much.
Okay. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. So just before beginning, I would just like to say, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and all glories to the centennial anniversary of Srila Gurudev's appearance.
And all the devotees.
So one thing, because I only literally have three minutes, and Sudevi doesn't have any time because we're going to start our program. One thing that Srila Gurudev did impress within us was responsible seva. Means that when we have a responsibility to our Gurudev and to the Vaishnavas, that we must maintain it. So I won't be able to speak more than two or 3 minutes. So I'll give you an example. Once upon a time, I was in New Braj while Gurudev's festival was going on. And of course, I like to multitask. And Kirtan is one of the things that I would do, and speaking and cooking and other kinds of so many different services. And I was kind of known for making pineapple upside down cake. So every year Nilachala Didi would request me to make pineapple upside down cake. And that day, Srila Gurudev came out a bit early. I don't know how to do this.
Turn it off.
Oh, there it is. That day, Srila Gurudev came out. He was waiting there at the, still going, sorry. Waiting there during the bhajans. And at a certain point, he says into the mic, "Where's Kishori Mohan?" And I came out from the kitchen and I was in my green apron. It wasn't the same color. And I was like, "I'm here, Gurudev, I'm here." And he was very stern. He said, "Your seva is to always be here in Kirtan. Others can do that seva." So I took off my apron, I gave it to a devotee, and I told them, "Check the cakes in a half an hour." And I went and sat down for Kirtan. And so at that moment, Srila Gurudev taught me a very valuable lesson. And really, that lesson was already taught by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He told Arjuna, better to do your own duty, even if imperfectly, than to do another's duty perfectly. So Gurudev didn't want me to neglect or disregard my duty for another duty at that time. So I just wanted to share that once upon a time, I was walking with the harmonium on my way to Kirtan. And I just for one moment glanced inside this big kitchen in Navadvip. And one Vaishnav said, "What are you doing? Do seva." I just glanced inside for a second. I said, "I am doing my seva." Gurudev ordered me to always be there for Kirtan. So our seva is beginning in just a few minutes. Oh, what's the time? 4:53. So I have a couple more minutes before we begin that. I apologize that we cannot be here for longer. Sudevi was sitting here all ready to share something, but there's not enough time to actually open the heart and share for two people. So one thing I wanted to share was that Srila Gurudev was so kind, so infinitely merciful. He actually came in many different ways for me. I can't explain it any other way. When I went to Navadvip during the ISKCON Parikrama in 1996, at that time, my father had requested me, on the plea of giving me a donation, that I should go and see Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, offer my respects to them, and hear what they have to say. And I completely forgot my vow, although I owed him an extra $100 for it. But anyhow, this one new boy came out of nowhere. I never met him before, and he just offered, "If you want, I can get us in to see Srila Puri Maharaj and Srila Narayan Maharaj." I was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I made this vow to my father." And so from that point, I actually see that it was Gurudev who made that arrangement, because that boy arranged rickshaws for us. He brought us to the mutts. He arranged everything. And I never saw him again. It was just those 2 or 3 days. I met him, and then I never saw him again or heard from him again. Only 2 years ago, someone posted a photo with me next to him, but I don't know his name or anything about him. And then Srila Gurudev came and stole my wife's heart. And really, it was like, well, I might die at any moment. That's what she told me. And I don't want to ruin my life. So I'm going to accept him as my guru, whether you accept that or not. And if you are willing to accept that, then everything is good. So basically, she was ready to give up everything, including me, for her spiritual life. And Srila Gurudev accepted her and then literally came to the house where I was working in Seattle. And we had 15 people living in that place, day and night working. It was a factory. And Gurudev stayed in that place in the basement that night. The ceiling was so low, you couldn't even stand up comfortably. And he stayed there that night. The afternoon before, he gave a beautiful class. And the next morning, he also gave a beautiful class, but directly to the house where I was staying. It was quite obvious that somehow I was being hunted. And then my father, Mituladish Prabhu, who has departed last couple of years ago, he told me that Gurudev was, because Gurudev he was offering initiation, but I said, I'm not serious, I'm not sincere. And Srila Gurudev said, you should come into the process. You should come into process and accept initiation from any bona fide spiritual master. And he even started naming different people. He didn't name himself. And I thought, okay, he's not just trying to take me, he's trying to bring me into the process. And then at a certain point, he was like, oh, you should become strong. And then he said, like your wife. And I was a little bit like, whoa. And I said, but I'm so weak. I'm not ready now. I said, I want to take from you, but I'm just not ready. And he said, you should become strong. And I said, maybe in Kartik time. So we went to India for Kartik in '96. But at that time in Seattle, my father, at a certain point, Srila Gurudev asked him, who's your son? And he said, that's my son. And Gurudev said, oh. And he said, Gurudev looked at me and went like this and made some kind of symbol like a bow and an arrow. I didn't see it, but he said that Gurudev did that. And somehow, even from my childhood, from the time I was in Vrindavan Gurukul, the way he sent that boy, this kid I knew since I was very young, that boy came up to me and was pressuring me. You have to go see Narayan Maharaj. He's so cool. He's Indian and he has blue eyes. One second. He's Indian and he has blue eyes. And I'm like, I don't believe you. And this kid pressured me so much. I was thinking, what's wrong with him? Anyhow, I was 9 years old. I went into the temple. And that was my first time actively having darshan of Gurudev. And I was waiting for a long time to see his eyes until finally he turned and looked at me. And it was like a miraculous experience for me. So I just wanted to share that Srila Gurudev didn't just come for me, but he came for so many of his disciples. And we look forward to hearing the rest of the devotees. Now we must begin with our seva. Dandavat pranam Srila Gurudev ki jai.